How's it going, guys? It's Nutshell here, and today Tarkov is going to be changing for PvE for the better, most likely. And that is because all of the recent bugs that have been going on since the release of PvE, including the ability for people to turn off the AI completely, as well as all of the issues with regards to items not disappearing, such as the PvE labs being able to completely just rinsing over and over and over again, provided that you don't get taken out, without losing your lab's keycard. That is all being fixed within this update, and it was pretty much guaranteed that this was going to be the case, and luckily it is. And so we are going to be seeing the changes going back to what the game truly should be. But of course there's things to learn, and I want to talk about those as well as we kind of come to the later stage of this, but we'll cover the actual notes that you need to know for this update alongside some of the new stuff. So if you enjoy Tarkov, you want to see more of this sort of stuff, then make sure to subscribe down below. Your support has been amazing. I think we've had over 2,300 subs this month, which is unbelievable, so thank you very much, and of course I really do appreciate it. Now moving on with the news, we have a new quest line for obtaining the 2A2 BTG, so obviously the new stimulant that was released probably about a month or so ago, whereby now allowing owners of any edition to obtain the item, so you can get that, and it's essentially just a new quest line for everyone. They've also added a new hideout zone upgrade items to the auto wishlist setting, so now you'll be able to see exactly what items are going to be required in order for you to upgrade your stash, which I think is very, very useful and a nice addition to the game. And this does not include items from favorited crafting recipes, but does include everything needed to build and upgrade the hideout. They've also changed the position of the wishlist button in the interaction menu and the survey button in the bottom menu as well. So couple of little bits, nothing too spectacular, but of course the meat of today's video, fixing the ability to change the AI amount in PvE mode, which is definitely a good thing in terms of game balance as it currently stands within the game, because this was not an intended thing within the game. People have been using it. I don't think there's going to be an issue with BSG trying to ban people for using it within PvE. I would be very, very surprised if that was ever to happen. I don't think that would be the intended consequence of anyone actually doing it. And of course, yeah, I don't really see any issue, to be honest. The only thing was, of course, the flea market and being able to sell the loot that you'd received from those raids where you maybe don't have any contesting for that loot that you got. And I think that's the biggest issue with the whole game-breaking aspect of that. It wasn't necessarily that you could go in with no AI, because at the end of the day, it's not very fun doing that, but it was purely just the loot that you could get for free, which was the biggest thing. Now, hopefully this is actually going to be fixed. They say it's fixed, so hopefully. And then, of course, they fixed an issue where extended PMC pockets as a reward for the task chain come with a time delay, so there's no longer going to be a time delay as to when you actually get the task done, essentially, so very nice. They fixed the DSP radio transmitter not working correctly in PvE mode, so this is one of the issues that we've had with regards to Lightkeeper and the quests. A lot of people coming into this sort of issue when they are trying to do Lightkeeper and just things not working entirely right, whereby you go into one raid and you'd have it, and then you go into the next one and it's deactivated. This sort of stuff definitely wasn't working as BSG was definitely intending, so that has been changed now. They have also fixed the incorrect display of armor damage in the post-raid statistics, so that will now be reflected in there. And there's fixed an issue with the Terror Group Labs access keycard not disappearing after a raid in the lab in PvE mode. So now you will lose your lab keycard when you do go into the raid, which is probably going to cause all of the labs keycards to go up in price, since now everyone is a bit more accustomed to playing labs if they haven't played a lot in PvP. anyone that's played PVE recently and has been running labs is probably going to want to play some more labs potentially when this update does change, because now they know the map, they know all of the routes, and it's a great money maker anyway, regardless of being able to go in with no contest within that map. It's a really good way of making a ton of money, as well as taking out quite a few enemies as well. So I think it's still going to be a very good option, but keycards probably going to go up in value now, at least the ones that you can buy off the fleet. Then we've got fix the mild muscle pain and severe muscle pain debuffs not working correctly after using the gym in the hideout in PvE mode. Now, for those of you that didn't know, I'm pretty sure everyone did at this point, or most people, was that obviously you could go into a raid, you can come out of that raid and you can do the gym. You go into a next raid, you could come out of that raid and do the gym again. It would reset your severe muscle pain and mild muscle pain every single raid that you went into. So that is obviously changed now. You're not going to be able to do it. And of course, it was very nice at the time that we had this in the game, but it is going to be changed now, and it will be coming back into the original PvE state of Tarkov. But this is where I want to transition into the next part of the video, which I really want to open up the question to you guys, because I've seen a lot of comments, people saying that this new bug is detrimental to the game. So lots of people saying, I actually really enjoyed this because I could customize the game how I wanted to play. If I want the AI to be harder, I could do that. I could make it harder, and consequently also the opposite side, where people are like, the game's too hard for me, you know, I want to be able to play how I want to play and take it a bit more casually, and so they were using the easier options that are available within the game. So when it comes to balancing these two things, there are a couple of problems that come with, you know, being able to choose difficulty, and probably why BSG have currently removed this feature to be able to choose the AI amount and choose the difficulty that we currently have within the raids. And that is primarily down to the fact that when you get your loot, it's affecting other people on the flea market. Now, one of the counters that you could make an argument for BSG introducing into the feature is that if you go into a raid with game settings that are changed from the standard settings, you cannot sell any of the items on the flea. So it would be like almost the found in raid and not found in raid system that we already had within Escape from Tarkov before the recent changes where you could sell either found in raid or not found in raid items. But the opposite, where if you go into a raid with game settings changed, you can't list them on the flea. Hence, meaning that if you're just farming loot, it's only for your own personal gain. And although you could generate a lot of money just by simply selling items, a lot of the time, you know, the key profit that you get out of your raids comes from sellable items that you can sell on the flea. So really, that's only negatively impacting you by going in with game settings changed in terms of how much money you generate. So I think this would be a good option that BSG could potentially do in the future. And I'd be interested to see whether you think this option is fair and whether you think that it is a balanced approach to kind of introducing the idea of, you know, coming up with some mods, that sort of stuff. This would be a great starting place for allowing people to customize and change how they want to play Tarkov. And for me personally, I want to make the AI harder, but also have AI that are just better and better optimized for the actual game experience, because right now they're pretty garbage, but they're also annoyingly overpowered in some situations. So they're just a little bit broken, but they're not insanely good, and it really depends on whether you come up against something like Bird Eye, who can shoot through bushes and all sorts of stuff with laser pinpoint accuracy, especially since the latest changes. And I'm not entirely sure that, well, Bird Eye was always good, but it seems like Bird Eye has just been improved insanely because of the fact that now you get aggroed from so far away, because any scav that's within the proximity of Bird Eye, and of course all of the goons, is within their radius. If they spot you, then they then become aggroed to you, which is what they did with one of the AI changes recently. But because the range of Bird Eye and the goons in general is so big as to their aggro range, or I guess because that is so big that any scav can be quite far away, and then of course that scav has a aggro range that's even further, that will then add to the whole range, which means you can essentially get targeted from so far away that you're never really going to have a chance against someone that can just one tap you in the head, and through bushes, through trees, because AI don't care if you can't see them. As long as they've got a shot on you, they will take it once they've aggroed on you, which is of course not particularly realistic when it comes to the game and playing in PvP and having a simulated experience somewhat to what that is. But yeah, I thought I'd talk about that and some of the things, because I want the AI to be better and harder. That is really what I'd like to do, but equally I don't want to pressure everyone into having harder AI, because there are similarly a lot of players that just want a casual experience within PvE. So hence why you should be able to swing either way and just customize how you would want. That's my opinion, but of course I'm just one player. Just because I make videos on the internet doesn't mean that my opinion means anything more than any of your guys' opinion. So I'd be interested to see what you guys actually think and what you would do differently. Would you ever have the difficulty? I've seen people say I would outright deny any sort of customization, saying that the game is already too easy, but I think they misinterpret the fact that some people find the game hard, some people find it very easy, and so allowing people to change how they want with no real impact to anyone else is not going to affect you. So I think that is where I'm coming at from that. Customization that doesn't affect anyone else is a good change, regardless of whether you think that someone should play like you play. I think that's a very hard approach to, saying that you have to play in this sort of way. And I think in the future, given how, I guess, prevalent this new change and all of these bugs were within the game, that I think people enjoy this sort of playstyle that is within the game, and potentially having this option would be something that is intended by BSG maybe later on down the line and executed in a much better way, whereby it's not affecting everyone in the game. I think that would be a good change in my opinion. So, of course, that's one issue. The other thing, labs, keycards, I mean, these should just disappear anyway, so there's no issues or anything to really talk about there. That's how it works. Labs supposed to be that kind of one entry. You get your keycard, you pay that large amount of money, technically large amount, about 166k, but of course then you get all of the rewards that come with it, so it's a bit of a risk versus reward. Do you take any good gear? Because if you die, you lose everything in labs, even if it's insured. So yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, and I think that having more stuff like that would be a good change. So I don't want to kind of drag this video on. That was kind of just what I wanted to talk about, and of course review what has happened over the last bits, as well as some of the changes that have come into the game. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to let me know what you think, make sure to do it in the comments. I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. More so than any of the other videos that I've done so far. I think it's a really important topic to kind of discuss with you guys. So with that being said, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.